Vateva. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Neshtiki. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Caitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Manchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Canto 3, Chapter 8, Text 9. So now Maitreya Muni is replying to Vidur's inquiries. Provachamayam sadayalurukto munihi pulatsena puranam adyam soham tavetat kathayami vatsa shraddha lave nityam anuvritaya. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The great sage Parasar, as aforementioned, being so advised by the great sage Pulatsya, spoke unto me the foremost of the Puranas, Bhagavatam. I shall also describe this before you, my dear son, in terms of my hearing, because you are always my faithful follower. So Maitreya Muni was saying he's going to speak the Bhagavatam as Sanat Kumar heard from Lord Sankarshan. Then Sanat Kumar, when he spoke it, Parasara Muni heard it. And Parasara Muni spoke it to Maitreya Muni when Pulatsya Muni asked Parasara Muni to instruct Maitreya Muni. And then Maitreya Muni is saying to Vidur, I will describe to you because you're my faithful follower. So Vidur has faith. He has faith in the scriptures. He has faith in the parampara. He has faith in the spiritual authority. And that is what we should have also. Faith, firm faith. What I'm engaging in Bhakti Yoga, this is the process. This will give me perfection. And when we proceed with this faith, then we can advance faster. We'll be more attentive, more submissive. We will be more open. Our hearts will be open up more. The great sage of the name Pulatsya is the father of all demoniac descendants. Once upon a time, Parasar began a sacrifice in which all the demons were to be burned to death because his father had been killed and devoured by one of them. Oh, I never knew that. Pulatsya Muni is the father of all demoniac descendants. Okay, Pulatsya. And then, so Parasar, he wanted he started a yajna in which he wanted to kill all the demons by burning them. Why? Because Parasara Muni's father had been killed and eaten by one of the demons. The great sage Vashishta Muni arrived at the sacrifice and requested Parasar to stop the deadly action. And because of Vashishta's position and respect in the community of sages, Parasar could not deny the request. So Vashishta Muni is also a very great sage. You know, we hear that Vashishta Muni was the advisor of Ramchandra's father. What's his name? I'm forgetting his name now. Anyway, Lord Ramchandra's father.
No. Dashrath Raja.
Oh, yes, that's right. Thank you. Dashrath, yes. So Vashishta Muni has, a great authority. Then Parasar, having stopped the sacrifice, Pulatsya, the father of the demons, appreciated his Brahmanical temperament and gave the blessing that in the future he would be a great speaker on the Vedic literatures, called the Puranas, the supplements of the Vedas. Parasar's action was appreciated by Pulatsya because Parasar had forgiven the demons out of his Brahmanical power of forgiveness. Parasar was able to demolish all the demons in the sacrifice, but he considered, demons are so made that they devour living creatures, men and animals. But why on that account should I withdraw my Brahmanical qualification of forgiveness? So here the quality of forgiveness is being glorified, that because Parasar Muni forgave the demons, that, okay, it's their nature, they are going to eat. That's how they are. So why should I stop? I hold this anger in my heart. So it's a great lesson we can also take, that in case we are wronged by someone, we should forgive them, try to forgive them, because when we are holding on to things, it stops our progress in spiritual life. So we should forgive, tolerate, depend on Krishna, that this is what, this is good for me. There must be some reason that it's for my own purification, or it's because of my past karma. So we should not hold grudges. We should try to forgive others, seeing them also as instruments in the hand of Krishna.
I can't hear you, Shilpa ji. Is it with me or everyone? Oh, now okay.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. And then forgiveness also, we were I heard on two different occasions from two different speakers that there is this Amish community in America. This community was in America, this particular one. So Amish are like, they live with nature. They are they don't use many modern appliances, and they live a very simple life. And so one of the family's children, son or daughter, was killed by some person. And then, so this family, they went to this person's house to meet with their family and tell them, because they were feeling, oh my God, this man's family must be feeling so bad that he's committed such a great crime. So they went there and told them, oh, we forgive him, don't worry. Although they had lost their child, although they lost their child, but they were thinking more about what is this young man's family going to be, what would be going through, that he has committed such an act. So they were so forgiving. We can also try to imbibe this forgiving nature. It's for our own benefit. Because when we hold on to grudges, then those things hurt our heart. They are painful in our heart. So if somehow or the other we pray to Krishna, please give me the strength to forgive, then we are being situated in the mode of goodness. It's a Brahmanical quality to forgive. Parasar was able to demolish all the demons in the sacrifice, but we read that. Okay, as the great speaker of the Puranas, Parasar first of all spoke on the Srimad Bhagavatam Purana, because it is the foremost of all the Puranas. Maitreya Muni desired to narrate the same Bhagavatam he had heard from Parasar, and Vidur was qualified to hear it because of his faithfulness and his following the instructions received from superiors. So there are 18 Puranas, and the essence of all the Puranas is this Bhagavad Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is one of the Puran. It's called Bhagavad Puran. And then Maitreya Muni heard it, and he's speaking to Vidur, as we said, because of his faith in the Srimad Bhagavatam, his faith in the spiritual authorities. So Srimad Bhagavatam was being narrated from time immemorial by the disciplic succession, even before the time of Vyasadeva. So it's not that Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken only when Vyasadeva has written it, recorded it. No, Srimad Bhagavatam is being spoken since time immemorial. Since time immemorial. Srimad Bhagavatam is eternally spoken, eternally, because it's the glories of the Lord and his devotees, his incarnations. So it's eternally spoken. The so-called historians calculate the Puranas to be only a few hundred years old, but factually the Puranas existed from time immemorial, before all historical calculations by the mundaners and speculative philosophers. So we should also try to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam with full faith, full surrender that, yes, this is going to give me perfection. Let me just continue hearing and chanting. How Parikshit Maharaj, he attained perfection by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So we should also hear Bhagavatam with this faith. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Anybody wanted to add anything or comment anything?
I just want to add that Parasha Muni is the father of Vyasadeva.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's the grandson of Vashishta Muni.
Oh, he's the grandson, is it?
Mm,
I didn't
yeah.
know. Okay. Grandson of Vashishta Muni.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Text 10. Udaplutam vishvam idam tadasid yan nidraya militadrin nyamilayat ahindra talpe dishayana ekaha krita shana swatma rato niriha. At that time, when the three worlds were submerged in water, Garbhodakshay Vishnu was alone, lying on his bedstead. The great snake Ananta, and although he appeared to be in slumber, in his own internal potency, free from the action of external energy, his eyes were not completely closed. So although Garbhodakshay Vishnu appears to be sleeping, he was not, his eyes were not closed. You know, the Lord is eternally enjoying transcendental bliss by his internal potency, whereas the external potency is suspended during the time of the dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. So Krishna, he does not need to endeavor to become happy. Like we, that's the difference, you know, we have to do some action to become happy. We can't just be sitting there and say, oh, I am feeling so happy. Some cause will be there. Something must have happened so that we are able to sit down and say, oh, I'm so happy. We have endeavored towards becoming happy. We did something, we spoke something, we gave something, or something. But for Krishna, he's just happy. He doesn't have to do anything to be happy. There's no external source needed to make Krishna happy. So Garbhodakshay Vishnu he appeared to be sleeping, but he's happy over there. He is Vishnu Tattva. So when we say we are God, this is one more reason that God is just happy being by himself. He's Atmaram, satisfied by himself. We are not like that. We need something to satisfy us. So anta sharire arpita bhuta sukshmaha kalatmikam shaktim udirayanaha swasa tasmin salile padesve yathana lodaruni ruddha viryaha. Just like the strength of fire within fuel wood, the Lord remained within the water of dissolution, submerging all the living entities in their subtle bodies. He lay in the self-invigorated energy called Kal. So, okay, this is the time where the material world has been dissolved. The universe has been dissolved. And so Garbhadaksha Vishnu is lying in the universe. After the three worlds, the upper, lower, and middle planetary systems merged into the water of dissolution. The living entities of all the three worlds remained in their subtle bodies by the dint of the energy called Kal. In this dissolution, the gross bodies became unmanifest, but the subtle bodies existed, just like the water of the material condition. Thus, the material energy was not completely wound up, as in the case in the full dissolution of the material world. So this was a partial dissolution of the material world, where the living entities are still inside the universes in the subtle bodies, not yet gone into the body of Mahavishnu. When everything goes inside the body of Mahavishnu, that's total dissolution. But here we are still there in our subtle bodies, somewhere in the universe, along with Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Chatur Yuganam cha sahasram apsu swapan swayod de ritaya swashaktya kalakhyaya sadita karma tantro lokan apitan dadarshe swadehe. The Lord lay down for 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas in his internal potency, and by his external energy, he appeared to be sleeping within the water. When the living entities were coming out for further development of their fruitive activities, actuated by the energy called Kal Shakti, he saw his transcendental body as bluish. In the Vishnu Puran, Kal Shakti is mentioned as avidya. The symptom of the influence of the Kal Shakti is that one has to work in the material world for fruitive results. So Kal Shakti is ignorance. Avidya means ignorance. And then because of this ignorance, what do? We think we are the body. And then because we think we are the body, we work to make this body comfortable. The fruitive workers are described in Bhagavad Gita as mudas, or foolish. Such foolish living entities are very enthusiastic to work for some temporary benefit within the perpetual bondage. So we are not able to realize that we are here in this material world since time immemorial. And all the karma that we are doing is going to create further karma. And then we will continue to live here in this material world. And yet we act out of so much energy, enthusiasm. Yes, this is me. Because we really believe that this body is me, We really believe that. We are not able to believe, okay, if theoretically we say, yes, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. We hear everybody in India will say that. But the way we act is as if we are the body, not the soul. So one thinks himself very clever throughout his life if he is able to leave behind him a great asset of wealth for his children. And to achieve this temporary benefit, he takes the risk of all sinful activities without knowledge that such activities will keep him perpetually bound by the shackles of material bondage. So we don't realize what activities are we doing. These activities are not going to keep me here in the material world. Let me stop acting like that. Let me not commit sinful activities. For what? Due to this polluted mentality and due to material sins, the aggregate combination of living entities appeared to be bluish. Such an impetus of activity for fruitive result is made possible by the dictation of the external energy of the Lord Kal. So because of this mentality that we have, that I am the body, and so the aura which is coming out looks to be bluish in the mode of ignorance. it's a mode of ignorance. So there was this story also, I think you all must be knowing of, I think it was Valmiki, that he was a hunter before. And then Narad Muni comes to him and tells, oh, he was a thief. I think he was a thief and a hunter, something like that. And Narad Muni told him, why are you doing this? So he said, because this is the way I support my family. And Narad Muni said, but you're accruing a lot of sinful activities, You're making this income for your family. You ask them, are they going to share with you the sinful reactions? Because you're going to get a lot of sinful reactions by doing this. So he went home and he asked his family, see, I'm supporting you all by doing all this stealing and killing. So I'm going to incur sinful reactions. So will you share with me this sinful reactions? They all said, his wife said no, his children said no. And he said, for what am I taking on this karma for myself? He gave up everything. And then he went back to Narad Muni, where he gave him the mantra, Mara Mara, because he was not able to say Ram Ram because of the sinful activities. So Narad Muni told him, okay, you chant Mara Mara. So Mara 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 became Ram 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 eventually. So we don't realize what activities we are doing, and for who. So this is what is the message of the Bhagavatam.
So does it mean that we are influenced by Kal Shakti?
Yes, we are all under the influence of Kal Shakti. Each of us, that's why we are here in this material world.
And then Maya?
Maya over here,
Maya.
Here is saying the same. External energy of the Lord is Maya.
So it's the same, right?
Yeah.
Kal Shakti.
Yeah, that's what is mentioned here in this
Maya.
verse.
Okay.
In this verse, it's written Kal Shakti as external energy, Kal Shakti as ignorance. So that is the covering potency. And also, but Kal, I've heard also in Srimad Bhagavatam, Kal also is the will of the Lord. Time I am, Krishna says time, right? So what's that time? Is the will of the Lord. And his will is not a bad will, it's benevolent, it's merciful will. It's for the benefit of everyone. So somewhere in the Bhagavatam, Kal is also described in that way. The most benevolent will of the Lord to bring us back home, back to Godhead. So text.
So the Lord says that I'm Kal. What does it mean exactly?
Time I am. He says
Time,
in Bhagavad Gita, time, because in the material world, time has a deteriorating effect, and with time, everything is going to finish. Death. So Krishna is death.
Okay.
Yeah. And when he says time I am is also his benevolent will. Like we say, everything happens with the will of the Lord.
With the will of the Lord, yeah.
Yeah. So
okay.
his most benevolent will. So text 13, Tasyartha sukshma binivishta drishter antargato ritho rajasa taniyan gunena kalanugatena viddaha shushyam stada vidyatanabhideshat. The subtle subject matter of creation on which the Lord's attention was fixed was agitated by the material mode of passion, and thus the subtle form of creation pierced through his abdomen. So let's see, the subtle subject matter of creation on which the Lord's attention was fixed. He appeared to be sleeping, but he's not sleeping. He's not sleeping. He's going to start the creation. His attention was fixed on creation, so he's going to start with the creation. And because of this, his attention, then what happens? The material mode of passion, and thus the subtle form of creation pierced through his abdomen. So even Krishna's glance, his attention, that's how the whole material creation happens, no? His glance. Time is also called as his glance. his will to let the creation happen. So this is Garbhodakshay Vishnu. So Sapadma Kosha Sahasod Dadishtat Kalena Karma Pratibodhanena Swarochi Satat Salilam Vishalam Vidyotayan Arka Ivatmayonihi. Piercing through this sum total form of the fruitive activity of the living entities took the shape of the bud of a lotus flower generated from the personality of Vishnu, and by his supreme will, it illuminated everything like the sun and dried up the vast waters of devastation. So all the universe was fully filled, inundated with water because of the partial dissolution that happened. And then, so the material mode of passion got mixed. So passion is what? Activity, right? Activity. And then, so from his navel, now again, the creation is going to happen. So the lotus flower is come, and then Brahmaji will sit there. So this is how Maitreya Muni is describing from the beginning of creation. You know, the history is going back to that point now, that there was dissolution, partial dissolution. So the universe is still there, but everything else in the universe was dissolved, staying there in the subtle form. And then now how Garbhodakshay Vishnu, the lotus flower is coming, and then again the creation will start. Any questions or comments?
Just finding very wondrous.
Yeah, I know, right? So inconceivable, no?
Yes,
So this is that the spiritual world exists, and when there is the partial dissolution, then again after the prescribed time, the creation happens, right? In the 1/4 part of the
Yeah,
external energy of Krishna.
yeah,
And the 3/4 spiritual energy always exists.
yeah. Yes, that is never dissolved.
That is never dissolved.
Yeah, that's eternal.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only in this material world, because of the breathing and that's the laws, that Krishna has made that laws. You know, it sometimes manifests, sometimes not manifests. And this particular narration we are hearing is that it was the material creation was partially dissolved. So probably it was the night of Brahma, because that was written 1,000 cycles of Treta Yuga, of the Chatur Yugas, no? So in the night of Brahma, everything is dissolved, partial dissolution. Then when in the morning, again Brahma is created, then again the creation happens. So this is that night of Brahma. So now the night of Brahma finished, and so now the morning of Brahma is starting. One day of Brahma is starting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So was there any other comments or anything to share? Anything else? No, then we can stop here for today. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Hari Hari Bol,
Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare
So
Krishna.
much for joining.